What's up, everyone? This is James Hernandez. How's everybody doing? And hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And welcome to a brand new video. And today I'm going to be doing another anime review video. And for today's anime, I'm going to be reviewing another Studio Ghibli film. And this is another Studio Ghibli film that I actually got from my birthday. And that is Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind is a Japanese animated film directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and the movie came out in 1984. So the story sets around in the post-apocalyptic world where it centers on a princess named Nausicaa who is from the Valley of the Wind, as she attempts to protect her people in the valley while also keep all those giant insects in their world, so the army doesn't really attack them, and she wants to make sure that everyone in both sides are safe. And it's all up to Nausicaa to save everyone's life, her people, as well as those giant insects from anything bad that is going on. So the first time I watched Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind is when I was scrolling around HBO Max, and HBO Max has tons of Studio Ghibli films, with the exception of Grave of the Fireflies. And I also saw the trailer for this movie on the three Studio Ghibli films on the 2-disc DVD on the Incredibles DVD when it comes to all these sneak peeks and trailers for movies, usually mostly from Disney. And there was one that is actually from Studio Ghibli, and Nausicaa is one of them. So after I watched this movie when I first watched it on HBO Max, and then I watched it again when I got this for my birthday by my sister, what do I think of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind? I actually really liked it. Now, I do have some small problems with the movie, but I'll get into that during the end of the review. So first off, let's talk about the animation. The animation in this movie, much like the other Studio Ghibli films from Hayao Miyazaki, and especially the ones not from him, is absolutely beautiful. The worlds where Nausicaa was entering in this gigantic jungle with all these gigantic bugs just looks incredible. And not only that the world looks beautiful, but the designs of the characters as well as those giant insects looks really good. I really do think that the animators did a wonderful job of making the worlds, the characters, and the insects actually looks really nice. And it looks just, like I said, it was just beautiful. There's not much I can really say about the animation in this movie, just like in the other two previous Studio Ghibli films that I actually reviewed, like The Cat Returns and My Neighbor Totoro. It's just because the animation is actually very beautiful, and it really makes me miss the old days where we used to have those type of 2D hand-drawn animated films that we don't really get a lot nowadays. Now we have a few with the Looney Tunes movie with Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, and also with Space Jam: A New Legacy. But aside from that, we've mostly been getting 3D animated films, which I'm not saying all the 3D animated movies are bad, but I just think that not all the 3D animated films are just as nice as the classic 2D hand drawn, especially the ones from Disney. No offense, but that's what I think. So yeah, like I said, the animation in this movie is just very beautiful, is really gorgeous to look at. The character designs looks great, and these gigantic bugs actually looks very creative, which it actually reminds me of something out of the movie Dune, or even those giant insects from Peter Jackson's King Kong, or even some of the kaiju monsters from Japanese, mostly Godzilla, Gamera, or even Ultraman, for those examples. Now let's talk about the characters. Now the main character in this movie is, of course, Nausicaa, and I really like her as a character because she's sweet, she's kind, she's heroic, she cares a lot about her people, she's very adventurous, and I actually really rooted for her to save everyone, like the giant insects, as well. She does have a lot of responsibility to save the people in the valley, and who voiced her in the English dub is Allison Lohman. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Some people actually criticize her by saying she doesn't actually sound like a teenager. She basically sounds like she was in her 20s or even her 30s. I don't know. But I still think she did a good job, and some people said that she's kind of a Mary Sue, which I don't really understand. But it's not like with the female characters like in movies nowadays where they were just like overly powerful, they're flawless, and they think they're better than everybody. That's not what I see it for Nausicaa. Yeah, Nausicaa did make a couple of mistakes, but she actually still manages to learn from it, and she still like follows her goals to protect the giant bugs as well as her people from like getting into destruction and make sure that nobody gets hurt. And she has a really nice personality. Like I said, she's adventurous, she's heroic, she's kind, she's very sweet, and she has a good heart. And she does everything that she can to protect her people in the valley and make sure that the giant insects stay in the jungle so they won't like feel threatened or cause destruction like something like out of a giant monster movie. Now, the next character I wanted to talk about is Lord Yupa. Lord Yupa is Nausicaa's teacher, and he is voiced by Patrick Stewart. And when I was watching this movie and I was listening to his voice, I was like, wait, who is that? Is that who I think it is? And it turns out that it's actually Patrick Stewart. That's the same guy, which he has been like in a lot of like movies, especially animated films that he's been voicing. He was King Goobot from Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. He's also best known for playing Professor Charles Xavier in the X-Men movies, and he was also in a couple of Star Trek stuff. I could be wrong though because I don't really watch Star Trek. But Patrick Stewart has been like he's been like been in every movie or even a TV show that he has appeared in, and he still keeps going to act. And he's actually going to be in Avengers Doomsday, and he's going to reprise his role as Charles Xavier, which I'm actually looking forward to. So, but anyways, Lord Yupa is like when it comes to like the supporting characters or even the side characters in Studio Ghibli, Lord Yupa actually tends to be a fan favorite, and I actually do agree. And the reason why is because his design, not only his voice, but also his design kind of looks like a very mysterious guy, and has like a kind of like a big mustache, which kind of reminds me of a Professor Porter from Tarzan. And he also tends to be a badass. Like when he was fighting the army that was trying to like attack Nausicaa's people, and then when he was fighting, you can tell that he might look like an old man with a big mustache, but he actually is, like I say, he's just pretty much a badass, and he actually has some like really good like sword fighting skills, much like when Nausicaa has her heroic skills. And he also is like a really good like a father figure to Nausicaa. And Patrick Stewart did a very good job voicing him, and I don't have any problems with him either because I think he is actually a very cool side character, and I really do like his interaction with Nausicaa. Now, there's one character I actually wanted to talk about really quick because usually like this character is mostly on Nausicaa's side the whole time, and that is this little squirrel fox creature named Tito. Tito is this little squirrel fox looking creature, which every time I was like seeing those little animal creatures from different animes, or especially from Studio Ghibli, like this little creature reminds me of like something like a Digimon. It looks more like a Digimon or even like a Pokemon, but like I was like watching the movie, and then I was like, you know, like taking a closer look to this little creature, and I was asking myself, is it more like a Pokemon or does he look more like a Digimon? And I felt like it looks more like a Digimon character. Just by looking at the eyes, like the design, the sculptures around the creature, and the creature is cute and is actually really is just an adorable animal that is like with Nausicaa throughout the entire film. Now, the other thing I really wanted to talk about also is that the action scenes is actually pretty cool, and I also really like the flying sequences where Nausicaa was flying with her flying board thing. I don't know what it's called, but like the scene like where she was flying, especially when she's like next to this giant insect during at the beginning of this movie is actually very cool, and the camera angles is amazing. Like it feels like that you're flying with her and you're going like on a journey, going on a mission with her. And I think that the camera is actually really good, and it's not really shaky cam, and it feels like the camera is like standing really still when you're actually are flying with her. And I really do think that they did a good job. And there's also like really good action scenes as well. I wouldn't say it was like as gory or as violent as like Princess Mononoke, despite that Princess Mononoke was made like later on. But because like some people say that this movie is just as intense and as graphic as Princess Mononoke, which I really don't think it was. There was actually two exceptions. One is where like during like the climax where Nausicaa actually injures her shoulder, and there was some blood on it, but it's definitely like not over the top graphic, like, or even some like the other animes that is like over the top, like with its graphic violence or anything. But this one is not one of them, or even like it's definitely not like I said, Princess Mononoke. But yeah, now those are pretty much like one of my positives with this anime film. Now I do have some couple problems. Despite that, I want to give this movie a full 10 out of 10. I do have some problems. Now the first problem I really have with the movie is one is that there were some moments where I kind of felt like the movie just feels too long, and I kind of felt like it can be like a bit boring at times, where I kind of felt like it was just kind of like a struggle to get through. And it really does make me like check on my watch, or basically just look at my phone to see like how long the movie is, or like what time it is. But that's not to say just because like movies are long doesn't mean it's always bad, because I've seen like movies that are like 3 hours long or even longer than that where I actually do enjoy, and it really doesn't drag the movie down. Like this one kind of does, but it doesn't really make me like, oh, I want to go to sleep, or I want to like get out of my couch and I want to change to a different channel. No, like it is pretty long, but I still really liked it. Um, Now the second problem that I had with the movie is another character, and that is Asbel. Now, Asbel is actually the character who is supposed to be like a love interest for Nausicaa. He's actually voiced by Shia LaBeouf, in case if you guys didn't notice. Even I didn't know that Shia LaBeouf voices that character. Now, I know a lot of people actually would think of like Shia LaBeouf as like Sam Witwicky in the Michael Bay Transformers movies, but he was also like in other movies as well. He was in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He was also part of the Disney Channel show, which I don't know what show he was in, but he was part of it. And he was actually, excuse me, like much younger than he was in the Michael Bay Transformers movies. And his character, on the other hand, he's not bad, but I think my main problem with his character is that I'm not saying Shia LaBeouf was bad. I'm not saying he gives a bad performance, but I think one of my main problems with his character is that he doesn't really have that much like chemistry with Nausicaa. And I kind of felt like there wasn't that much of like a huge bond that these two had, or even like have like a romance, which I actually wish that they do, because of like there was like one scene where they basically just like interact with each other, and I just kind of felt like it was pretty forced. And I really wish they didn't have to do that, and it just feels very rushed. But there is actually one scene where I actually really like from Asbel, and that is when he was eating this I don't know, some kind of like little tiny vegetable or something, and when he tastes it, and then he was like, "What is this?" And then Nausicaa was like, "This is the food that is supposed to be good for you." And when he tastes it again, when Nausicaa feeds Tito and feeds herself to eat, and he tastes it again, he was like, "Why does like the things that are supposed to be good for you taste bad?" And that one I was like, I'm so glad that I was not the only one who thought of that, because back then when I was a kid, I felt like despite that vegetables is good for you, but there are times where, yeah, like it tastes good for you, but there were times like where I thought the taste of the vegetables just tastes kind of awful. And usually like I was not a huge vegetable fan as a kid. Like I used to hate broccoli when I was a kid, but now as an adult, I actually really like broccoli. And there's some vegetables I actually did not mind. And there are some other vegetables I taste where I was like, I know it's supposed to be good for you, but but the taste, not so much. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Back to the movie. So so yeah, I felt like Asbel and Nausicaa. I do like when they team up to save the people in the valley, and while Asbel would actually will fight his own people to let Nausicaa save her people and to save the insects from being killed. But aside from that, they don't really have that much of a strong chemistry, and I kind of felt like their chemistry just kind of feels a bit pointless and it feels kind of weak. So that's actually one of my main problems with the film. But overall, guys, I really do like. Oh, the one thing I almost forgot to mention is that the music in this movie is fantastic. I really love the music, and it's just so beautiful. And it's just by the colors when Nausicaa was resurrected at the end of the movie. It's just like one of the most beautiful atmospheric music have ever listened to. Like not just from Studio Ghibli, but also from anime. Period. And the sound designers did an excellent job of making it very atmospheric. It makes us feel something in our hearts, and it just makes us feel relatable to everything and everyone in this movie. So yeah, I think that's all I got to say about Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I really like this movie. It does have its small problems, like I kept mentioning, but yeah, but I actually really do like this movie, and I actually really do recommend this film. If you guys really like post like apocalyptic, I hope I'm saying that name right. Hope I'm saying that word right. Sorry if I'm lip syncing. If you really like post-apocalyptic movies and animated features, and if you really want to watch like an animated film where it kind of reminds you of like Dune in a way, then this is the animated film that I actually recommend to everyone. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind a solid 8 out of 10. I liked it. Is it perfect? No. But do I like it? Yes. I still think this is actually a very nice movie. This is also like a very good film from Hayao Miyazaki, and this is I think this is like the one that started Studio Ghibli. Some people say this is the first Studio Ghibli film, or Castle in the Sky is the first Studio Ghibli film, but you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. But like I said, this is a very good movie. I really liked it. It does have its problems. I wish there was more chemistry between Nausicaa and Asbel. There were some moments where it just kind of really drags and it just feels too long. But the stuff that is good, I really like this movie. And I mostly prefer watching the dub. I haven't watched the sub version of this movie because of usually I actually would like to watch the movie, not read it. Because if I want to read, then I'll read a comic book or even a normal book, you know. But anyways, so folks, if you really, like I said, if you really want to watch like an animated film, which kind of looks like the anime version of Dune in a post-apocalyptic world of saving people in the valley and with beautiful animation and gorgeous atmosphere, this is the Japanese animated film that I actually recommend. So do me a favor, go watch this movie and go buy it. So folks, that is my review for Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? What do you think of the characters? What do you think of the animation? Do you think this movie feels a little too long? Were there some boring scenes that you felt like that kind of drags the movie down, or am I missing something? Let me know in the comments below. I will love to hear your thoughts. And also, in case if you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications when I make future videos. And stay tuned for the next video that I'm going to be reviewing the Peter Jackson King Kong video game. Since I already reviewed the movie, I'm going to be reviewing the movie tie-in game. So that's going to be the next video when it comes to video games. So, and I'm also going to be announcing like future videos for the new year after the holidays. So stay tuned for those. So, yeah, I think that's all I got to say for today, and hope you guys enjoyed my review for Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Hope you guys had a great day, and take good care of yourselves.